Alright, hello, my name is Pearce, and this is my legal case study analysis presentation. So let's get right into it. So the case I'm going to be covering is the Thompson v. Southwest School District, basically covering the issue of an educator's privacy, right? So in this presentation, I'll be going over the background of the case and the key facts of it, as well as discussing whether or not the teacher's legal rights were violated, and from the results of the case, what impact does this have on public schools and the public school policy, and then lastly, how would I, address similar issues like this in the future. So, for some background here, again, the case Thompson v. Southwest School District. So, there's a teacher named Diane Thompson who was employed at the Southwest School District, and during her employment, she was living with her boyfriend, right? So someone she was not married to, which until this case was made, there was no public knowledge of this, right? People were unaware of this, and it wasn't impacting the classroom in any way, or at least no one saw it any sort of impact on the classroom of any kind, right? But eventually the school board found out about this, and they attempted to dismiss Thompson on grounds of immorality. So, and then when they were trying to dismiss her, or excuse me, after they were trying to dismiss her, they actually made this issue public in order to kind of, pin the community against her, right? And obviously Thompson was not okay with, making her private business public. So, getting into the legal principles involved. So again, obviously, a person's constitutional right to privacy. The board made this situation public, which is obviously a violation of that. On top of this, standards for immorality in the education employment law. So basically, what determines when it's okay for the Board of Education to take disciplinary action on a teacher on grounds of immorality, right? And then lastly, the requirement of demonstrated harm. So is what they were doing harming students and or negatively impacting the overall productiveness of the classroom, right? So from the court findings, they deemed that it was overall unfair for the board to make this private matter public just solely for that that community support, right? And on top of this, they found that the cohabitation, or living with someone you're not married to, didn't interfere with her teaching effectiveness. And then lastly, they found that the board failed to show any sort of evidence, such as loss of credibility from that teacher, any disruption towards the students or class, and overall any legitimate professional harm. So in the end, the board lost this case, and Thompson kept her job, which I believe was the right decision. So getting into the legal analysis, were these teachers' rights violated, or were they upheld? So yes, these teachers' rights are obviously violated. Again, her right to privacy was violated, as the board made this matter completely public. On top of this, the misuse of immorality clause, so basically, the school board made this decision based more on moral judgment than completely objective stance, right? So, which is not obviously something you can do. On top of that, again, they made this controversy public after trying to dismiss this teacher, which just again kind of shows that there was no signs of what she was doing was negatively impacting the classroom or harming any students in any way, things like that. So kind of getting behind the how the court made their decision. So cohabitation, again, living with someone you're not married to, between two consenting adults, is not illegal, right? It is perfectly fine to live with someone you're not married to. On top of this, when they thought, when you're trying to punish someone on grounds of morality, or immorality, there needs to be evidence, right? There needs to be evidence that either what they're doing is illegal, and if it is legal, then is it what they're doing harming students in any way, and is it disrupting the classroom performance? And then, was there any controversy related to this case? Overall, the only thing that was really controversial was the fact that the board made this issue public solely for that community support, right? Which I think is a pretty scummy thing to do, right? So, what does this mean for public schools? What can they, what should they take away from this? So, they need to kind of do a better job of determining when it is okay to take action of grounds on immorality, right? As I said, it should be from a completely objective standpoint, not just, your moral judgment or your opinion on, I don't believe anyone should be living with someone they're not married to, so we can't have this person in our school. And then with that, districts must show evidence of real harm. Again, as I said, not just moral disagreements. So clearly showing that what they did was either illegal or negatively impacting a classroom or harming anyone, right? And then lastly, school boards just need to be more professional, right? As I said, making this issue was completely public. Thompson didn't want anyone to spread word that she was living with her boyfriend, right? So it just overall, again, a scummy thing to do. Kind of reminds me of something like that would happen in like a political race, right? To like gain dirt on your opponent or something like that. So again, boards just need to be more professional. So future considerations, or what should happen in similar situations in the future. So again, I believe there should be clear definitions of immorality, so that we are better able to make those clear objective decisions instead of based on what the opinions are of the school board, right? On top of this, for the policymakers, just stronger privacy protections for those teachers. Again, like, is if what they're doing is perfectly legal and they're not harming anyone, it should be clearly stated and just overall better made, I guess you could say. And then lastly, better discipline procedures, right? It shouldn't be, again, what this school board did. They tried to dismiss her and then made this situation public, which is just an overall bad way to go about it. There should be, again, getting back to that clear definitions. There should be, what they did was wrong or wasn't wrong, so we should discipline you accordingly or not discipline you, right? So, in conclusion, from this Thompson v. Southwest School District case, I believe that it, just reinforces the fact that not only, everyone's, but specifically teachers' privacy should be respected, right? If they're doing something that's perfectly legal and it's not affecting anyone, who cares, right? Just let them live their life. And then on top of that, discipline on grounds of immorality should be objective. Again, as I'm saying over and over again, it should just be clear, and there should be no, moral judgment involved. And then lastly, we just overall need to better understand legal rights, as, this would just go a long way in just creating a better classroom environment, right? If everyone, clearly understands what they need to do, then policymakers will be able to, create those fair policies that just make everything clear, everything easier, and overall a better classroom environment. So, thank you.